In this chapter, we are going to draw on what you learned in Chapter 2 about the basics of chemistry and apply it to the beginning of organic chemistry. This short chapter will lead us directly into Chapter 5, where we will take what we know about biochemistry for building biological macromolecules that are necessary for the continuation of life. Carbon, the backbone of life. Although cells are 70 to 95% water, the rest consist of mostly carbon-based compounds. Carbon enters the biosphere when photosynthetic organisms use the sun's energy to transform CO2 into organic molecules, which are then taken in by plant-eating animals. Carbon accounts for the diversity of biological molecules, which has made possible the wide variety of living things. Proteins, DNA, carbohydrates, and other molecules that distinguish living matter from inorganic material are all composed of carbon atoms bonded to each other and to atoms of other elements. These other elements commonly include hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, and phosphorus. Carbon atoms can bond to 4 other atoms or groups of atoms, making a large variety of molecules possible. Section 4.1. Carbon compounds are the basis for organic chemistry. Inorganic chemistry classes will focus on compounds that generally do not contain carbon, but all of the other compounds. Organic chemistry focuses on organic compounds containing carbon. Organic compounds can range from simple molecules such as CH4 or methane to complex molecules such as proteins with thousands of atoms. Most organic compounds contain hydrogen atoms as well as carbon. The overall percentages of the major elements of life, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, and phosphorus, are quite uniform from one organism to another. Because of carbon's versatility, these few elements can be combined to build an endless variety of organic molecules. The science of organic chemistry began with attempts to purify and improve the yield of products obtained from organisms. Initially, chemists learned to synthesize simple compounds in the laboratory, but had no success with more complex compounds. The Swedish chemist Jan Jacob Berzelius was the first to make a distinction between organic compounds, thought to arise only in living organisms, and inorganic compounds that were found in the non-living world. Early organic chemists proposed vitalism, which was the belief that physical and chemical laws do not apply to living things. Support for vitalism waned as organic chemists learned to synthesize complex organic compounds in the laboratory. In the early 1800s, the German chemist Friedrich Wöhler and his students synthesized urea. A few years later, Hermann Kolbe, a student of Wöhler's, made the organic compound acetic acid, we know it as vinegar, from inorganic substances prepared directly from pure elements. In 1953, Stanley Miller at the University of Chicago set up a laboratory simulation of possible chemical conditions on the primitive Earth and demonstrated the spontaneous synthesis of organic compounds. The mixture of gases Miller created probably did not accurately represent the atmosphere of the primitive Earth. However, similar experiments using more accurate atmospheric conditions also led to the formation of organic compounds. Spontaneous abiotic synthesis of organic compounds, possibly near volcanoes, may have been an early stage in the origin of life on Earth. Here we can see a modified version of their apparatus that they set up. You can see the seawater in the bottom left. They heated it up. The water vapor went to a cooling chamber, and an electrode was applied, which merged the NH3 ammonia with the hydrogen, the H2. There was a condenser, cold water going in, and then the sample that was extracted from that gave them that urea. Organic chemists finally rejected vitalism and embraced mechanism, the belief that the same physical and chemical laws govern all natural phenomena, including those processes of life. Organic chemistry was redefined as the study of carbon compounds regardless of their origin. Organisms produce the majority of organic compounds. The laws of chemistry apply to both inorganic and organic compounds. The foundation of organic chemistry is not a mysterious life force, but rather the unique versatility of carbon-based compounds.